Hello, week 27. I cannot believe this has been going on for so long, and that there are still plants in the garden. It is third week of October, I think, and the garden's definitely looking sparse, but there's still tons of stuff happening. Notice there's no more tomato plant here. We had a bunch of crappy weather last year, like a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and that bike, I guess, ornament thing was what was left of my entire tomato staking system. The tomatoes started in one of those cages. I thought I had an actual stake in there, but I guess not, or unless I already moved it. And it got so big that I ended up running out of stakes and using this bike thing. And eventually the tomato plant got too heavy, knocked over 2 cages, and that, and it was just massive. And then you can see, if I get closer, it fell on top of all of this. So now all the carrots and everything are a mess too. But there was like 2 or 3 days straight of rain that I couldn't even get out here to get rid of it and stand it back up. So this kind of happened. And on Sunday, I finally decided to cut my losses and take down this plant. I took off all of the green tomatoes. There was a large bucket. Not bucket. Like a salad serving bowl, I guess. Like a big salad serving bowl full of tomatoes. I'll post a picture of it somewhere. And so those are just gonna have to ripen like in a brown bag or something, because the tomato plant it didn't have any structure anymore, and it was just falling over every 5 seconds and damaging everything else. So that's gone. So now over here, all we're left with is what's left of this eggplant plant that's now been trimmed back a ton too, because there are some small eggplants on here. There's one there, there's a little baby back there. This one doesn't have anything on it, but that's as far back as I trimmed it, really. So these guys, I guess I'll just keep that there. They're not really harming anyone. See how big I can get that eggplant to go. Then there's nothing here. We have some radicchio, messy ones that got squished and kind of blocked out by the tomato plant, and it knocked over the flamingos and everything. So I still have to figure out how I can reorganize this mess or bring it back to life. But back here we have some pretty good radicchio heads. There's this one, and this one's looking really good. So actually that one back there is looking pretty good too, now that I see it. The cauliflower has gotten eaten a bunch. I don't see the bugs, there's no worms on them, so there's something else eating it. Now they're not blocked by the tomatoes anymore either, so maybe they'll grow or something, but I don't know. I just kind of threw them in there to see what would happen. It's probably not the best spot for them, but they'll also, oh, there are worms on them. Ah, jerks. Okay, so I have to deal with that. It's the same worms that eat the broccoli, which is annoying. So that's that. Those are weeds in there. Oh, you can't even see the cauliflower really. There's really bad shadows now that we're at this time of year. But in here, that's all, not quite weeds, it's wildflowers that have grown back after I pulled them out. I don't know if I'll clean it up. I might just leave it in there, especially if the cauliflower aren't really taking. Undecided, really. Then we have carrots. These guys. I don't know if they're ready yet. Let's see. Oh, here's another tomato. I don't think they're ready. They have some pretty decent stems though, compared to last time. Excuse me, Penny. Penny loves carrots. And those guys kind of got squished. Then the pepper plant, I did see a little baby, there he is. Little baby pepper. That's blurry. There, little baby pepper. I ended up cutting off the red pepper that was here, and it's now buried down there. We'll see if I get a volunteer pepper next year. And then this is Radish Kingdom. I actually picked a radish yesterday. I just happened to come back here while I was waiting for something, and I was just kind of looking around, and I saw a radish popping out, so I pulled it. It was I think it was a French breakfast radish, the kind of long one with the white bottom. Hey! Let's see if there's anyone else in here. There's tons of carrots sprouting in here now too. Let's see. There's one here, but I don't want to pick it yet because it looks pretty good. I don't know. those leaves are pretty big back there, so I'm guessing there's some decent radishes, but you can see there's deposits from caterpillars and things. God, I hate bugs so much. I don't see anything super exciting except for that one, and I didn't even take a picture of it, and it went in my mom's salad for lunch today, so there will be no picture of it. But there's one maybe there. I'm not ready to pull that one yet, though. They're definitely growing a lot slower than I expected, but I also forgot that I had to take into account the fact that it's colder. It actually went down to like 40 degrees last night, and it was 40 something when I woke up this morning. So, oh, here's one that might be able to be picked. It's a little small still. I don't want to pick it just yet. So it's definitely getting colder, which is good for radishes, from what I gather. But we had a risk of frost, which I wasn't expecting for another couple weeks. So anyway, that cauliflower plant's actually looking pretty good. I didn't realize that. So maybe that one will, I don't even remember planting that one. I remember planting those. So there, that's that. Anyway, enough with this patch. Let me get out of here and throw the ball for Penny. The strawberries are looking pretty good, some of them better than others. This middle one here looks pretty good. The ones down there look less good. Yeah. We've had a lot of rain. It's been just generally moist and damp, so that was a problem for some of the plants over there. But it's keeping everything mostly watered, so that's good. The strawberries are definitely starting to go into their dormancy phase. There's actually one really good looking strawberry in here that I might eat. This guy. He's not quite ready yet, but the rest of them are, I'm just letting go to seed. I found, oh, I did rescue another stake. I pulled out something from the garden that had a stake in it, and now the raspberries are staked, so they're good to go for winter now. They're just gonna chill there. And that's it for here. These guys are all just waiting for winter. Then here. So you'll notice, in addition to my shadow, there's this whole open patch here. That was one of the broccoli plants that got eaten alive. So I finally decided to pull it in hopes that it would get more sun to the celery that's there, and this radicchio, and to the carrots and onions that are over there, because it was definitely blocking that whole thing. And maybe just by having fewer plants I would have fewer worms. That hasn't turned out to be true. But I'm actually I've given up hope on the broccoli. Like, these bugs are everywhere, and they don't seem to want to stop. And there's no signs of broccoli, so I think I did something wrong with planting this. Maybe there's the wrong nutrients in the soil, or planted it too late, or who knows. But I've definitely made a lovely habitat for these, what are they, cabbage moth eaters, cabbage mothworms or something like that. They love it, but it also means I'm not getting any broccoli. There's more little caterpillar deposits there, but those are the celery, and they're looking pretty good. With this one down here, I think got stepped on. I found a squirrel in here yesterday. Notice the holes. He was just digging his way through stuff. I yelled at him promptly. Then, let's see. Yep, more celery, more celery. This cherry tomato plant is also probably on its last leg. I'm trying to get as many to ripen on the plant as possible, but it's way less full than it was. It's kind of all down here. A lot of it's starting to die back, so I think this week I will probably pick what's left. And I'm also noticing a lot of cracks starting to form because of the moisture changes. So I probably will pick this one this week. Part of the reason I didn't want to pick it or take this down over the weekend when I did the other one was just we had so many tomatoes from the other one, so if I pick these at the same time, they'd all ripen at the same time, and we'd just have way too many tomatoes and they'd probably end up going bad. So I'm trying to sort of stagger them a bit so that there's less waste. We'll see. There's a lot of orange. I mean, this needs to be picked anyway to just get some orange ones off, but I'm not quite ready to take down the plant yet, but it's close. It might happen before next week. There was a tomato plant here. That's gone now. That's probably where that other stake came from. I think there was one tomato left on it. It was one of the San Martano, I think. tomatoes, so that's gone. So that freed up this whole space. You notice there's just a huge gap in here now. I think there was another, I think I pulled out 2 tomato plants actually. And I also pulled out just a little bit of the kale that was here. It had been eaten alive. I have a bit of an aphid issue at the moment, and I'm totally out of sprays for that. So I'm just kind of leaving it. The kale's seen better days, but it is what it is. And then I mentioned before we've had a lot of moisture. That has not been fantastic for my pumpkins. I still don't see any pumpkins on here. Definitely not gonna have any pumpkins in time for Halloween. So far, I don't see any signs of squash bugs, which are usually my issue, but so far so good there. This plant's looking okay. Has some flowers on it. This one has mildew for sure. Yeah, I don't know. This radicchio is also looking pretty good, actually. And what else is here? Oh, this mess. I actually have to get in there and get all of those tomatoes out. And there's a bunch of them behind the bike. And I mean, look at this plant. It has gone everywhere. Everywhere you look, this plant. And then it's back there too. So, oh, that's everything that got cut down. That's mostly eggplant leaves. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave this, and probably the same time I take this down, I will clear this out and do the same thing with all the tomatoes. I was just kind of curious, and now I'm still curious to see how big and how crazy it's gonna go and how many tomatoes it'll produce, given that I just shoved the thing in the ground. And how late it is. Like this, I'm so surprised. It's almost the end of October, I guess. Still close to middle October. And this plant is just still growing out of control. I think there's only one thing left, which is back here. This little area, which is carrots and beets and onions. Oh my. Oh, the Brussels sprout. I didn't even see the other Brussels sprout over there. There it is. Right there. It's also being eaten around the same way as the kale. I might have to pull that kale, to be honest. I don't know. Okay, so then we have these carrots, which are getting a lot more sunlight now, and may get more. I may just pull this broccoli plant out. These carrots are the same as the ones over in the other garden, I think, or the straight line ones in the other garden. These were planted, I think these should be ready end of October, but I'm gonna probably wait till mid-November to pick them. The beets are getting a little bit bigger, but not much. They're definitely slow growing. These guys are also just chilling in here, but I think they've gotten a little bit bigger now that there's a little bit more sunlight. This Brussels sprout has been very happy since I got rid of all that extra eggplant. And there's one eggplant still going in here, which is the reason the plant is still there. Otherwise that would go too, but that guy's, he's grown a bunch too since I pulled out all the extra leaves. Then we have some San Marzano tomatoes, a bunch more in here. These guys have all just appeared in the last couple of weeks, which is really surprising. But these plants, which were, I guess, cuttings of my original 2 San Marzano plants, I just shoved them in the ground. These guys have been way more productive than the original plants, which has been nice because we didn't get much at all from those original plants. And that's it, I think. Yeah, that's everything. That's all that's left. So for next week, anticipated changes. Ah, I just got bit and he left blood on me. Jerk. Mosquito. Ugh. Ow. Itch, 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 itch. Okay. So for next week, I think there's a decent chance that this tomato plant will be gone. I think. I might push it one more week, but as it stands right now, it's probably on its last leg. This broccoli I'm noticing is really interfering with the celery. So I may actually pull that broccoli too, which will leave me with only one broccoli plant, which is that big one back there. I don't know. I'm kind of sad and not really ready to cut all of my broccoli chances because I have absolutely no broccoli up here. But if one of them is going to do it, I feel like the one with the bigger stem would have more luck. I don't know. But I do want my celery to get enough sun and stuff, so I may have to, or see if I can reposition the plant somehow, like stake it over in this open area, because you can see it bends that way. If I can maybe move it and just redirect it, that might work. Then everything else should still be here. Might cut back the kale, might not, we'll see. And that's it. All right. It's getting quieter, a lot less to do. Just waiting on all these things, the underground things, mostly to ripen up. And also, something that I want to get in the ground soon is my leeks. I've been waiting on those because I'm going to overwinter those, and haven't yet decided where I'm going to put them. I was thinking the bed, but I don't know. So, leeks, they have to go in. Tomatoes have to come out either this week or next week. Broccoli might be rearranged or repositioned somehow. Kale might be cut back. But that's it. That's all that's left. Alright, cool. See you next week.